All right, everybody, welcome in. This is episode 6 of From Baltimore to Orono. On today's episode, I'll be reacting to NJIT's upset over FORDHAM. Shout out to NJIT. I'll be breaking down Vermont's struggle against Western New England, and then the first half, they struggled against Plattsburgh State. And then Ace Flag, he looked solid in his debut. We'll be breaking down the UMaine game against George Washington. Tough outings for Binghamton, New Hampshire. And then we'll be previewing the games for this weekend. And before I jump into today's episode, just wanted to say shout out to the 64 people that watched last episode on YouTube. And we gained 1 subscriber from that episode, so thank you. We're up to 24 subs, so hoping to get to 25 after today's episode. And then we had 4 listeners on Spotify. We got 4. So we usually have that loyal 3. We found another one. So shout out to you guys. Thank you. It means a lot. And right now, while I record this, New Hampshire is currently playing against Curry College. And they're currently up 97-30. So big bounce back. Curry College, I think, is a D2 school, it's definitely not D1, so it's either D2 or D3. Even though it is D2 or D3, shout out to New Hampshire for being up by 67 points. That's still pretty impressive. Even it doesn't matter what the division is, especially with how poorly they played in their first game against Clemson. So shout out to the New Hampshire Wildcats, and it's now time to get into the episode. All right, first up on the list for today's episode was NJIT pulling off the upset at Fordham for their first game of the year. Fordham was the 15.5-point favorite. NJIT ended up winning the game by 11. Freshman David Bolden, what a game for him. He was really the standout for this game. He had 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. He was 4 from 7 from the three-point line. And some of those threes he was hitting, man, like end of the shot clock, Curry range, and he was hitting them nothing but net. So shout out to David Bolden, your first ever college basketball game, and you're coming up big. So shout out to you, man. Jordan Rogers, he also played very well. He had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and he played very well on the defensive end too. So shout out to Jordan Rogers. And then freshman Rocco Awad, sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. He also had a pretty solid game off the bench. He had 12 points, and he shot 4 for 5 from the field. So 2 freshmen stepping up big for NJIT. Ari Fulton, he's kind of struggled. He had 8 points, and he shot 3 from 12 from the line. But NJIT still found a way to win the game. They took a lead with 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the first half, 24-22, and they held on to that lead for the rest of the game. So shout out to NJIT. Love to see the America East Conference going in to Atlantic 10 Conference home gym and knocking them off. Not only do they win the game, but they win the game by double digits. So huge win for NJIT to start off their year. Shout out to them. All right, next up is how Vermont played. So I was shocked. I didn't really get to watch this game that much. I was on watching the Binghamton versus Syracuse game and then the Maine versus George Washington game. I only got one TV screen right now, so I only can watch one game at a time. But I do have a monitor, so I might consider start watching 2 games at a time. That way I don't have to keep on constantly flipping back and forth. And if you have Hulu Live, and you're on an Amazon TV, I think you understand the frustration of just using the Hulu app on just using the Amazon TV in general. Holy shit, that thing is so slow. It's never made sense to me why Amazon Prime is the hardest app to use on an Amazon TV. But that's for another podcast. But Vermont, they played Western New England, Division III school, and they only ended up winning the game by 7. So I saw that. I'm in a Discord, and some of the Vermont fans were kind of freaking out. TJ Long led the way with 18 points. TJ Hurley had 14. And Lucas Mari, he's a stat sheet stuffer. He had 6 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. And I just want to give credit to Western New England. They just were fighting all night. Vermont would go up by 12, 14, 16. It looked like they'd start pulling away, and Western New England would just keep on fighting back, getting that lead down to 6, to 5, to 8, So only losing to Vermont by 7, huge respect to them, and that's going to give them a lot of momentum going into their Division III schedule. And then last night, I did watch this game. It was Vermont versus Plattsburgh State. Plattsburgh State is a Division II school, and Vermont just once again, just no energy in the first half. They didn't really look like that good of a team. They were struggling, weren't shooting the ball that well, and I was starting to get worried about my preseason champion pick. I picked them to win the conference, so I was starting to get worried. But Coach Becker, whatever he said in the locker room at halftime, definitely fired up the team. I don't know if he had to punch a locker to get them fired up or not, but whatever he did, it definitely worked. They were up 44-31 at halftime. They opened the second half on a 15-0 run. They ended up winning the game 113-62, and in the second half alone, they outscored them 69-31. TJ Long in this game also had 18 points, and Lucas Mari, once again, stat sheet stuffer, 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. If you do fantasy college basketball, I forget what the app is. I tried it this year. I was in a 40-man league. Not sure why I even wasted my time doing that. And then there was some GM conflict issues where invalid lineups was a thing. It was a whole big story, so I just deleted the app. But definitely going to do fantasy college basketball for next season. But if you are currently in a league doing fantasy college basketball, I would pick up Lucas Mari. He potentially will have a triple-double, maybe even more than one triple-double for this season. And then TJ Hurley, he had 13 points. And, yeah, so Vermont struggled in the first half, but then great second half, pulled away. Coach Becker said he was very pleased with their performance in the second half. All right, so the third game up on this list that I'm breaking down was UMaine versus George Washington. Maine played pretty close with George Washington up until the 13-minute mark in the second half. George Washington was a 20.5-point favorite coming into this game. Maine was only down by 1 at that 13-minute mark in the second half, and then George Washington, that's when they took over the game. They controlled the game, the rest of the game. They went on a 10-0 run to go up by 11, and then it remained a 10 or higher point lead for the rest of the game. George Washington ended up winning the game 67-47. So shout out to Maine for covering plus 20.5 to whoever took that bet. TJ Beal, he led the team with 13 points, and Ace Flag. I didn't really know going into the game what his role was going to be. I didn't know if he was just going to be a bench warmer, a guy that didn't really play that much, maybe got 4 to 5 minutes into the game, but he played a pretty big role. I don't think he was, if I can remember, I don't think he was the first one off the bench, but he was one of the first. I want to say he's a 7th man on the team right now. So he had a solid debut. For his first ever college basketball game, he had 10 points and 3 rebounds. He was the second highest scorer for Maine. The first play that he was in, he knocked the ball away from the guy he was guarding, and then he dove after the ball, which then led it kicked off the George Washington player's foot, and it ended up being Maine ball. So Ace Flag, he's just the type of plays he will be making all year for the Maine Black Bears. So can't wait to continue watching that. And the problem, it looked like it was going to be a good game for Maine because Rafael Castro got into foul trouble early. He picked up 2 fouls within like the first, I want to say it was like the first 6 or 7 minutes. So he had to go sit. But then Maine had no answer for Luke Hunger. Luke Hunger was a beast on Monday night. Luke Hunger stepped up in place of Castro. He had 15 points and 7 rebounds. He could have had even more points. There's a lot of not a lot, but there was a few times where he just missed some easy bunnies. So shout out to Luke Hunger. He was unstoppable all night. George Washington ended up winning 67-47. So sad to see that result, but it was a tough fight for Maine. Tough first game. George Washington should be a pretty good squad this year in the Atlantic 10. All right, next game up on my list. This game I also ended up watching, and I don't know how to really explain it for Binghamton, but I mean, if you're a Binghamton fan, that was definitely a tough watch on Monday night. I mean, I ended up taking Binghamton plus 20.5 too, so that was also, the bet was dead like in the first half. The bet, I mean, it was just, I was like, all right, well, I should have just burnt $5 instead of betting it on them. But I mean, Syracuse just dominated the whole game, great from the start. You could just tell Syracuse was the much better team. I mean, going into the game, Syracuse was the much better team, but like as soon as the game started, you could just tell it's a whole different league in the ACC. Syracuse defensive intensity was on 10 the whole night. Binghamton just couldn't get their offense going. Binghamton, at one point, so Binghamton only had 6 points with 5 minutes to go in the first half. If I can remember, I mean, Syracuse, that's the thing. If Binghamton could have just figured out their offense, they honestly could have won the game because Syracuse just was struggling to shoot. Also, it was 20-6 with 5 minutes to go in the first half. So, like, I know being up 26 is a 14-point lead, but 20 points isn't a lot either to have at that point in the game. So it was just tough to see Binghamton struggle that bad. They turned over the ball a lot. So the only positive note for Binghamton is Demetrius Lilly had a really good game, 17 points and 13 rebounds. He was all over the place. Definitely Binghamton's best player. But once again, Syracuse defense, I mean, it was hard for Lilly to really get deep down in the post, and he didn't really look comfortable on offense, but he can for sure fly high for rebounds, and he's a good defender. But yeah, Binghamton, 21 turnovers on the night, and I'm pretty sure, like, I want to say 10 or 11 those were right in the first half. So I was planning on watching this entire game, but just how the first half went, I just ended up switching to the UMaine game, and then when UMaine was on commercial, I'd switch it back. But 98% of the game was just dominated by Syracuse, so tough night for Binghamton fans. But Binghamton is 1-1 on the year. They did end up winning on a Wednesday night against RIT, which is either a Division II or Division III. They only ended up winning by 10, and Demetrius Lilly did not play. I didn't hear why, but, you know, maybe I had way too high expectations for Binghamton. But the first two games, they're not looking like a good team. But it's also early in the year. It's only 2 games in, so this could be a major overreaction. We'll see how they do this weekend against Niagara, who will be a decent squad for them to go against, coached by Greg Paulus. But the next game I had down on my list to go over was New Hampshire versus Clemson. It was a rough night for New Hampshire. They lost by 50 to Clemson, 88-38. And just the same story as a Binghamton game, just Clemson's on a whole different level. The defense intensity just bothered New Hampshire all night. New Hampshire just couldn't get a flow going. And at one point, New Hampshire went 6 minutes straight without scoring in the first half, so you're not going to win any games doing that. They didn't have many turnovers. They only had 8 turnovers. They shot the ball very poorly, only shot 25% from the field, 15 for 60. So if you're only making 15 shots in a game, I mean, you're guaranteed to lose. So, and they got crushed on the boards. They got out-rebounded by 15. It was 45 rebounds for Clemson and 30 for New Hampshire. So only making 15 field goals and only getting out-rebounded by 15 rebounds. No chance you're ever going to win no matter who you play. But like I said, when I started recording this, New Hampshire was up 97-30 over Curry College. The game was almost over too, so way to bounce back, way to take care of who's on your schedule, and way to blow out Curry College. All right, so now jumping into this weekend's games. First up on the list, we got UMass Lowell going against UConn, 7 p.m. Friday night on Peacock. Definitely will have to get Peacock to watch this game. I don't have Peacock right now. Hate that it's all on streaming services. Like, just go back to how it used to be. Like, this game should be on Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2. You know, that's why Fox Sports 2 is there. Why Fox Sports 2 exists, because to have a game like UMass Lowell versus UConn. But UConn, both teams are 1-0 in the year. UConn won their first game 79-55 over New Haven. And UMass Lowell won 107-55 over Riviere. So shout out to UMass Lowell for taking care of their business. They won by 52. How the Coach Duquette was talking about his team, it just, if you would have shown me the box score and said UMass Lowell only ended up winning that game by 10 over Riviere, I wouldn't have been shocked. So definitely not as low on UMass Lowell if they're winning that game by 52. But now for UConn, I mean, really one of the biggest upsets in college basketball history. If UMass Lowell wins this game, UConn is the 33.5 point favorite, and I think I'll end up betting on UConn to cover that. Just once again, the reason why I'm taking that is because, well, one, it's UConn, Dan Hurley, great coach, and they got Alex Caravan, one of the best players in college this year, and just how low the Coach Duquette is on UMass Lowell just makes me want to take UConn. But if UMass Lowell ends up covering, then I'm never going to fade them again. I think it was just Coach Duquette playing with the reporters and trying to set the expectations low for his team. So, but yes, UMass Lowell versus UConn, Friday night, 7 p.m. on Peacock at UConn. All right, next game for this weekend. Another one of those things where I'm like, why not just put this game on the ACC network? It's a pretty good game, especially so the game's Bryant versus Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech, their first game, they struggled really bad. They only ended up winning by 4 in overtime over University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So, and last night, Maryland Eastern Shore, I'm pretty pissed about, pretty pissed at them. So they lost to Georgia by 65 points last night. Their line was, I think they were like plus 36.5. And I took them because, you know, I've never really been high on any team that Mike White has coached. Georgia's historically never been really a good college basketball team. And so I just saw that, you know, Maryland Eastern Shore, they battled with Georgia Tech in overtime. They should be able to keep it close, or not keep it close, but be able to cover 36.5 against Georgia. But wow, I was totally wrong on that. Ended up losing by 65 points. So Maryland Eastern Shore University, not even sure where that is in Maryland, but it is dead to me. So anyway, Bryant versus Georgia Tech. First meeting in history between these two teams. Timothy Rudovsky and Khalil Williams looking to build off their first games. Rudovsky had 15 points and Williams had 12. What Bryant really needs to limit their turnovers. They had 20 turnovers versus Siena, and just off the 20 turnovers, Siena got 27 points from those turnovers. So that should be a key coming into this game, is to limit the turnovers. But for Bryant to pull off the win against Georgia Tech, you know, it looks more likely now after that first game result between Georgia Tech and Maryland Eastern Shore. I don't think Bryant will do it. The spread isn't out yet for this game, but depending on the spread, how big it is, I would consider betting on Bryant. And don't be shocked if Bryant pulls off the upset against Georgia Tech on Friday night. It's on ACC Network Plus. So not the ACC Network, but ACC Network Plus, which you can only watch if you have ESPN Plus. So Bryant, Georgia Tech, Friday night. All right, so What I'm going to do for this next part of the episode is same thing I did last episode, where I'm ranking the teams most likely to win their next game and then least likely to win. When I did this the first time, I ranked Vermont number 1, they won. UMBC number 2, they won. UMass Lowell number 3, they won. But that's really wasn't any hard to predict that because they played D2 and D3 schools. And then I had Bryant number 4, they lost. Maine number 5, they lost. And then NJIT, I doubted them. They proved me wrong. I ranked them. They had the 6th highest chance of winnings, and they beat Fordham. And then Binghamton lost to Syracuse, Albany to Marquette, and New Hampshire to Clemson. So this weekend, I'm ranking, once again, most likely to win to least likely. So coming in at number 1, the team I think is most likely to win their next game this weekend, I took Binghamton over Niagara. According to Ken Palm, so this spread, I'm not sure if there will be a spread for this game. I imagine there will be somewhere. This spread should be super close. Binghamton's ranked 339, and Niagara is ranked 344. So these teams it's going to be a coin flip to see who wins this game. But Binghamton is at home. They already have 2 games under their belt compared to Niagara's 1. So I think if this game was at Niagara, I would take Niagara. But I think the home court advantage for Binghamton will win a close one against them. I'm going to say Binghamton wins by 3 points. All right, second game, team up with the second best odds to win their next game. I took Vermont to win over Brown. The game is at Brown. Ken Palm has Vermont ranked 201, and Brown is ranked 167. But Vermont, same situation as Binghamton, 2 games under their belt. First road game of the year. So once again, another close game. I think Vermont is going to squeak by. I think they're going to win the game by 1 or 2 points. I imagine the spread, if I had to guess the spread, I imagine Brown will be the favorite by, say, 3.5, just because they have the home court advantage. So if that ends up being the spread, if Vermont's the underdog, I'll definitely be taking their money line. But all right, third on the list, third team, third highest chances of winning their game. This is the battle of the former America East School. So it's UMaine versus Stony Brook. I think UMaine can pull off this game. The game is in Stony Brook, or I should say at Stony Brook's gym. The network, it looks like it's on the Flow or whatever that website's called. So I don't know if I get that or how to get that. So if anyone wants to comment down below how to watch games on Flow, then help me out because I do want to watch this game. Ken Palm has Maine ranked 289th and Stony Brook 286. So another coin flip game, another game where the spread is going to be super close. Probably will have Stony Brook favored by like 2.5. I can't bet the game, but I would say Maine. I think Maine is going to pull off this win. Another super close game. I'm going to take Maine to win by 2. All right, the team with the 4th highest chances to win their next game. I took the team that got the biggest win of the week so far. Could end up not being the biggest win, depending on if Bryant upsets Georgia Tech or UMass Lowell pulls off the miracle against UConn. But so team with the 4th highest odds to win the game, I took NJIT to win over Fairfield. This, once again, another super close game. I would imagine the spread's going to be super close. Ken Palm's got it. NJIT ranked at 332. Fairfield's 300. But I think with NJIT being the home team in this game, I think NJIT will be favored by like 1.5. I just think after winning the game where you beat Fordham at their home and you're the 15.5-point underdog, you're going into this next game with high spirits. Practice for the rest of the week was definitely not fun, but, you got a lot more confidence with your teammates. The morale is very high. So that's why I'm going to take NJIT over Fairfield. All right, for these remaining of the games, I don't think any America East school will win these games. But fifth highest chances of winning their next game, I took Bryant to pull off the upset over Georgia Tech. I don't think it actually will happen, but with Georgia Tech's poor performance against Maryland Eastern Shore, I think Bryant has a pretty solid chance. New-looking squad. They struggled with turnovers in their first game against Siena, but if they clean that up, keep this game to a low-scoring game, I think Bryant has a solid chance to pull off the upset. Depending on the spread, I might make a bet on this game. And then for the six highest chances of winning the game, I took Albany to win over UMass. UMass with the famous head coach Frank Martin. I've always been a big fan of him. His teams always play tough defense. So I went Albany. They're ranked 267 on KenPom. UMass is ranked 207. So I didn't realize UMass was ranked that high. I thought they were better squad than that, but that is only according to KenPom. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But UMass at home, I think they should win over Albany by at least, I'd say, like 9 to 10 points. And then next up on the list, I took UMBC over Dayton. I don't think that'll actually happen, though. I was also confused on why Josh Nunwo and Devin Caesar didn't play in the first game. I didn't find an answer to that. So UMBC fans, if you are listening, please let me know why they didn't play. And if they are going to play this Saturday against Dayton, Dayton has always just been a tough team to play at their gym. So I'm not sure what the spread would be on this game. If I had to guess, it'd be like Dayton minus 21.5. I'm not sure if I would bet that or not, but I think Dayton will win this game pretty easily over UMBC. And then last up on the list, I think everyone could have guessed it at the beginning of the episode, team with the worst chance to win their next game this weekend, I took UMass Lowell over UConn. I'll say this right now, if UMass Lowell upsets UConn tomorrow night, we'll be doing an emergency episode and recording my live reaction. I might even go live on YouTube for the final, say, 10 minutes of the game if it's close. And then maybe record an episode right after that, just all based off UMass Lowell upsetting UConn. But my bet for that game is definitely going to take UConn minus 33.5. I don't think UMass Lowell will really make this game competitive. I think UConn's going to win by 40. Sorry to the UMass Lowell fans, but I think you guys probably would say the same. So that is today's episode 6. It's definitely getting a lot easier to do this podcast. At first, it was just kind of awkward being in a garage talking to myself pretty much, but it's definitely gotten a lot easier. Episode 7, I'll be recording Sunday night. We'll be breaking down the weekend games, see how they went, see where I was right, see where I was wrong. Pay attention to the Twitter from Baltimore to Orono. That's where I post if I'm going to make a bet on the game or not. So if you want to tail my picks, probably don't want to tail my picks after hearing that I took Maryland Eastern Shore last night plus 36.5, and they ended up losing by 65. So, hey, that's sports gambling for you. Some nights you look like you're the smartest person in the world, and then some nights you're like, this guy's a fucking idiot. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Please share it to your friends, your family, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend, that friend that you haven't talked to in 8 years. Share it to him. Say, hey, we haven't talked in 8 years, but hey, here's a decent podcast to listen to, and we can talk about it after. But Sunday night, I'll be recording episode 7. We'll be breaking down how the games went over the weekend and then previewing the games coming up for next week. once again, college basketball is back. It's the best time of the year. It feels great to turn on the TV every night and just to see a bunch of college basketball games on. So love this time of the year. And once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to it on Spotify. Go follow the Instagram. Go follow the Twitter. And go join the Facebook group. Thank you guys very much. This was episode 6 of From Baltimore to Orono.